Fat Dan had always been a proud resident of Bedfordshire. He loved the countryside, the rolling hills, and the quaint little towns that dotted the landscape. But one thing that Dan didn't love was online trolls. For years, Dan had been the target of vicious trolls on various social media platforms. They would leave hateful comments on his posts, insult his appearance, and even go so far as to make threats against his family. Dan had tried ignoring them, blocking them, and even reporting them, but nothing seemed to work. One day, Dan received a message from an old friend he hadn't spoken to in years, Snoop Dogg. Snoop had heard about Dan's troubles with trolls and wanted to help. They talked on the phone and came up with a plan. They were going to take the trolls to court. Snoop had connections in the legal world, and he knew a lawyer who specialized in internet defamation. They teamed up, and the lawyer filed a lawsuit against the trolls. They were seeking damages for the emotional distress the trolls had caused Dan and wanted to shut down their accounts for good. The trolls tried to fight back, but they didn't stand a chance. Snoop and Dan had plenty of evidence, and their lawyer was a force to be reckoned with. In the end, the trolls settled out of court, paying a hefty sum to Dan and agreeing to never bother him again. Dan was thrilled. He finally felt like justice had been served. And he was even happier to have reconnected with his old friend Snoop Dogg. They continued to chat on the phone and made plans to get together in person soon. As for the trolls, they learned a valuable lesson, that their actions have consequences. They thought they could hide behind their screens and say whatever they wanted without facing any repercussions. But they were wrong. And now, thanks to Fat Dan and Snoop Dogg, they were finally taken down. Fat Dan had finally received the big money he deserved after winning his court case against the online trolls. He decided to treat himself to a well-deserved vacation on a deserted island in the middle of nowhere, where he could finally relax and enjoy the fruits of his labor. To make his time even better, he brought his loyal friend Snoop Dogg and their beloved commando dragon dog Spike with them. They arrived on the island and immediately went to their rented villa, which was situated right next to the beach. The three of them spent their days smoking the cannabis that they grew legally, reminiscing about their past experiences and enjoying the peace and tranquility of the island. They even took Spike for long walks on the beach, where he could run free and explore the beauty of the island. Dan couldn't help but feel grateful for everything that had happened in his life. He remembered the days when he was growing cannabis in a mini-fridge and never thought he'd be able to enjoy the fruits of his labor in such a way. As the sun set each day, Dan and Snoop Dogg sat back and enjoyed the serenity of the island. They smoked their own grown cannabis and talked about their future plans. They knew that there would always be challenges, but they were both determined to keep moving forward and making the most of every opportunity that came their way. They spent a week on the island, and each day felt like a dream come true. They knew that they'd have to return to reality soon, but for now, they were happy just to bask in the beauty of the island and enjoy each other's company. As the vacation came to an end, Dan and Snoop Dogg felt refreshed and recharged. They knew that they had to return to their lives, but they were both excited about what the future had in store for them. They packed their bags, said their goodbyes, and headed back home with Spike, looking forward to the next adventure life would bring.